Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220, KHTS. This is your host, Fred Arnold, on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm with Jorge Meza. Jorge Meza is with HBW Advisory Services and financial planner, financial professional.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about HBW Advisory Services.
Well, HBW itself as a firm, we've been around since, it's like 22 years or so now. I've been out here in Santa Clarita Valley with my offices for over 17 years. I have two offices, one on Avenue Stanford and one on the old road in Stevenson's Ranch. So it's we manage assets, manage money, help people get to retirement and college kids and all that kind of stuff, make sure their insurances and long-term care and all that stuff's in place.
Let's
manage
break
portfolio.
Yeah, let's break it down a little bit, because when you say manage portfolio, someone go, "Oh man, I don't have a big enough portfolio to manage." But sometimes people come over to you because they're just rolling over their 401k, or they're starting a college savings plan for their children. Tell us about some of the basics that people can get started and introduced to you with.
Sure. I mean, there's several different clients that we have. We live in Santa Clarita Valley here, so it's not like we're sitting in the wealth capital of the United States. My client base, if you will, is the middle American consumer. I mean, so we have accounts that people can open them up with $50, and then, like this morning, we help somebody get to retirement, and then that's a much larger sum, on the several hundred thousand. So it really depends on the client. My job is to help put a portfolio together. It doesn't matter to me, frankly, what the client's economic strata is, so long as we're doing what's in their best interest.
And putting a plan
forward
together for them, yeah.
Sure.
Well, in America today, we see a lot of challenges, a lot of fiscal challenges that they have. What do you see as the major challenges facing our citizens?
Oh boy, I'll tell you that's just Fred. What's the number? It's something like 54 million Americans have been devastated or hurt economically since this downturn since 2008. And we've all known people that have lost their homes. I mean, you're in that industry, lost their homes. Their 401k is now a 201k. Half of their 30% of their IRAs.
Now they're 301k.
Yeah, they've gone up a little bit.
They're still hurting.
And so, of course, and our firm, what our goal is and our mantra is so that to educate folks so that, frankly, never happens again. I mean, the people that created this debacle, many of them got bailed out. The firms got bailed. Well, what about us? Who's going to educate the consumer so that never happens again, ever? And that's really just a lack of education on people's parts. And frankly, sometimes I think it's by design. So my job, is to make sure that to the best of my ability, that nobody ever gets hurt economically again.
And George, if they're taking sound advice from a professional such as yourself, they're going to avoid some of the pitfalls. And it's now a day where you need to take personal responsibility if you want to be financially successful. Would you not agree with that?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
If you're going to wait for a bailout, then you might get Social Security, but if that's all you have, you're not going to be able to move forward in the fashion you want to, which goes to the second question, and that is, families are concerned about what retirement, myself included, health care, and financial independence. How do you kind of put a bow around that? How do you get your arms around that for a family? Well,
first you need a financial plan. You need to we don't give any kind of advice till we get a very clear picture of where you are today. It's similar to, if somebody wanted to get to your house and they said, Fred, tell me how to get there. Your first question is, where are you? Mm-hmm. We need to figure out where you are. So we sit together, we put a plan together, and then implement strategies in order to help you hit retirement. Make sure we mitigate health care costs by having enough assets to cover those expenses. So the concerns many people have these days are how am I going to retire? Can I retire? The banks are paying 0.25% or maybe a little bit more these days. It's people that have those monies in those areas like that are just the money's not going to grow through retirement. Inflation's averaging about 3% or so. Your money needs to grow through retirement in order for you to have a nice life later on. And then healthcare costs being what they are, they're going to continue to go up. So we need to have enough resources and insurance plans in place to be able to stay in your house and all those kinds of things. So,
And that's one thing that's on people's minds: the cost of health care and long-term care. How are you able to help educate and mitigate that risk as a consumer, especially as a healthy consumer when you're younger?
sure. Well, obviously, the younger you are, I mean, there's different plans, and again, based on the analysis, we'll strategize as to what plan is best for you. But you know, the plans nowadays, the you know, and long-term care has kind of a stigma to it, and most people don't have it because the fear of how much it's going to cost me. In fact, the numbers are. Genworth did a survey not long ago. 90% of America doesn't have any kind of long-term care or chronic care plan for themselves, and the challenge with that is 70% of us are going to need it. At some point in our life, we're going to need to access that cash. 40% of us are going to need it inside of a facility. In other words, inside of an assisted living facility is one of those things. So what having either the resources, because you planned well, or having the insurances in case you don't have the money is really going to help you stay in your, you know, I call it, I want to stay at home insurance. I want to, you know, if we had the ability and we were ill, we would want to stay at home instead of going someplace else and have somebody come and take care of us at home. And that's what that does is those plans keep you at home, and that way you don't have to exhaust your savings to pay for that. I mean, typical long-term care facility is anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 a month.
So if you pre-plan for it now, you don't have to worry about it in the future. Very much like life insurance and other insurance you have.
Of course.
Though seminars, you also do seminars, right?
We do. You know, if you want to call my office, I'll be happy to schedule you in the next one. We do educational seminars. They're free to you, free to the consumer, and then you get a bunch of information that will then begin to help you make an educated, informed decision going forward with some of the plans and things that we have to do, and it involves trusts and all kinds of other things that we put together to help you make sound financial choices so that you can retire and live a nice life later on in life.
Yeah. Those that want to reach you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach my office. They can call several numbers, 661-255-0146. Again, that's 661-255-0146. I also have a toll-free number. It's 877-403-2752. Again, 877-403-2752.
Good. Thanks for coming in.
Very
Thanks for
good.
being a
Well, I
part
appreciate
of,
your time.
all the advice and solutions that you can get out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Meza, HBW Advisory Services. Well, you've been
thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. You've been listening to and watching online AM 1220 KHTS.